Throughout the Second Age of Middle-earth, within the core of Oron, a remarkable era of divine craftsmanship flourished. Annatar, presenting himself as a messenger from the Valar, imparted the elves with the intricate skills of ringcraft. Consequently, amidst the melodious harmony of hammer-meeting anvil, the Noldorin craftsmen created the Rings of Power. Greetings, fellow adventurers of Middle-earth. Today we will delve into the magical properties concealed within the Rings of Power and examine their impacts on those who possess them, both beneficial and detrimental. Around the year 750 of the Second Age, the Brotherhood of Master Jewel Smiths, known as the Gwaith Aimer Dane, was established under Celebrimbor's leadership. Later, in the year 1200, Sauron, appearing in his fair guise and adopting the name Annatar, approached the Gwaith Aimer Dane and revealed the secrets of ringcraft. Thus, the Rings of Power were created long ago. Numerous elven rings were produced, magic rings, as you might refer to them, each varying in their potency, with some being more powerful than others. The lesser rings were merely preliminary attempts in the craft before it reached full maturity, and to the elven smiths, they were considered minor. Nonetheless, in my opinion, they still posed a threat to mortals. The specifics surrounding the creation of the lesser rings remain obscure. Even the exact number of lesser rings has been lost to history. Crafted during a period of innovation by elven artisans who were on the brink of creation, each lesser ring likely featured unique experimental enchantments. Although scant information exists about these rings, there are murmurs within the legendarium, such as a passage from letter 131. The chief power of all the rings alike was the prevention or slowing of decay, the preservation of what is desired or loved. The struggle against decay becomes a poignant theme in Tolkien's narrative. We know that both Gollum and Bilbo experienced extended lifespans due to the ring, suggesting that the preservation power is central to all ringcraft. It logically follows that the lesser rings also share this characteristic. A hint of another power of the lesser rings is found within The Hobbit. Shortly after Bilbo acquires the ring, it appears to be a magic ring granting invisibility. He had heard such tales in ancient stories, yet it was hard to believe he had stumbled upon one by chance. Nevertheless, there it was. Gollum, with his keen eyes, had passed him by only a yard to the side. This excerpt indicates that magic rings enabling invisibility were part of old folklore. Could this legend be rooted in the lesser rings? If so, this suggests that at least some lesser rings bestowed the power of invisibility upon their wearers. Consequently, other spells associated with the Great Rings might have also been applied to the lesser rings. Thus, beneath their modest appearances, a range of abilities could be awaiting discovery. Should these relatively simple rings indeed harbor such mystical powers, they would undoubtedly become highly sought-after treasures for those yearning for a touch of enchantment. However, none shone as brightly as the 20 Great Rings. Their distribution is detailed in the following verse. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 9 rings were bestowed upon men. Each circlet contained a mirror reflecting their deepest desires, enticing them with promises of strength and mastery. To those yearning for dominion, the rings whispered visions of crowns, castles, and kingdoms, Empowered by their influence, kings arose, their crowns forged in the fires of ambition. For those seeking power, the rings murmured spells of potency and control. Sorcerers emerged, their minds alight with arcane wisdom, and to those desiring glory, the rings narrated tales of valor and fame. Warriors ascended, their names destined to be chronicled in history's annals. The rings given to men also possessed another power: invisibility. Initially, this was used solely at the bearer's discretion, but over time, the cloak of invisibility became a permanent and binding state. This fading was due to a unique intertwining of worlds. The rings enabled the wearer to traverse between realms, existing on the edge between the physical world and the Wraith realm. They could move, if they chose, unseen by anyone in the world beneath the sun, and they could perceive things in realms invisible to mortals. However, more often than not, they only saw the phantoms and illusions created by Sauron. One by one, depending on their inherent strength and the morality of their wills, they succumbed to the influence of the ring they bore and fell under the dominion of the One Ring, controlled by Sauron. The rings also granted the ability to extend the bearer's life. It is crucial to understand that these rings do not create new life, but rather stretch the existing existence of the bearer through time. Nonetheless, the allure of immortality captivates mortals so powerfully that they refuse to part with their rings, even as the repercussions of wielding them begin to surface. Gradually, inevitably, the physical forms of the nine diminished and decayed until their transformation into wraiths was complete, rendering them forever invisible except to the wearer of the One Ring. They entered the Shadow Realm, becoming the Nazgul, the Ring Wraiths, the Dark Lord's most fearsome servants. Darkness accompanied them, and they cried with voices of death. As the Third Age began, they emerged, their dark cloaks concealing their emptiness, acting as Sauron's emissaries of fear and despair across Middle-earth. If this was the destiny of mortals who received rings of power, why did the dwarven ring-bearers not also fall into the Wraith realm? The answer lies in the creation of the dwarves in the elder days of Middle-earth. The Valar created the dwarves with strong, resilient hands. Born in an era when the original Dark Lord, Melkor, still loomed heavily over the world. The dwarves were designed to withstand great hardships and resist spiritual domination. Their inherent fortitude, akin to forged iron, protected them from the ring's insidious influence. Although they could be killed or broken, they could not be reduced to shadows serving another's will. For the same reason, their lives were unaffected by any ring in terms of lengthening or shortening. Consequently, Sauron despised the dwarven ring-bearers and sought to take the rings from them. He gave the 7 dwarven rings of power to the leaders of the 7 dwarven kindreds, without realizing how ineffective the rings would be. However, the rings had another unexpected impact on the dwarven lords, which served his dark purposes. The only influence the rings exerted over the dwarves was in igniting an insatiable hunger for gold and treasure within their hearts. This greed overshadowed all other joys, making them blind to the beauty of simpler pleasures. As a result, the dwarven lords reveled in their newfound wealth, amassing vast fortunes in their underground realms. Unbeknownst to them, this treasure would attract a sinister force lurking in the northern skies. With wings spread wide, a disaster descended upon Erebor like a dark storm unleashed. Smaug, the fire drake of the north, wreaked havoc upon the once thriving halls, leaving behind only ruin and desolation in his fiery path. In Moria, Durin's relentless quest for wealth within the Misty Mountains awakened Durin's bane from its slumber, leading to Durin's death and the complete abandonment of Khazad-dûm. Thus, two powerful dwarven strongholds, once formidable allies against Sauron, were left shattered and desolate, victims of the corrupting influence of the Dwarven Rings. Following Anatar's departure from Oron, Celebrimbor took on the task of forging the three elven rings alone in his solitude. These rings possessed a semblance of purity, being protected from Sauron's direct influence. However, their creation was still intertwined with the knowledge Anatar had shared, binding them to the unseen control of the Master Ring's dominion. Vilya, the Ring of Air, crafted with a blue sapphire set in a gold band, was the most powerful of the elven rings and was entrusted to Elrond in Rivendell. The true depths of Vilya's power remain enigmatic, yet subtle hints can be found within the legendarium, offering faint glimpses of its essence. Elrond, the esteemed healer, exemplifies Vilya's healing capabilities. He himself refers to this power in the following excerpt from the Fellowship of the Ring. "They are not idle, but they were not made as weapons of war or conquest. That is not their power. Those who made them did not desire strength or domination or hoarded wealth, but understanding, making, and healing, to preserve all things unstained." Nenya, the Ring of Water, was created from mithril and adorned with a white adamant stone, a gem of legendary durability. Adamant is known to shimmer with diamond-like brilliance and possess similar unyielding strength. In Unfinished Tales, Tolkien describes the profound influence Nenya had over Galadriel through its magic. The realm of Lothlorien thrived, enhanced with new strength and beauty. However, its effect on Galadriel was a powerful and unforeseen force, as it awakened and amplified her latent yearning for the sea and a journey to the west. Consequently, her joy in Middle-earth diminished, overshadowed by the enticing call of distant horizons. The final member of the trio was Narya, the Ring of Fire, also known as the Red Ring. Initially worn by Círdan the Shipwright, it ultimately found its destiny with Gandalf. Círdan made a significant sacrifice by gifting Narya to Gandalf, as detailed in the appendices. "Take this ring, Master, for your labors will be heavy, but it will support you in the weariness that you have taken upon yourself. For this is the Ring of Fire, and with it you may rekindle hearts in a world that grows chill." Gandalf's very presence inspires courage in those around him, a guiding flame for Thorin's company alongside the hesitant Bilbo Baggins. He bolsters Frodo's determination on his dangerous quest to destroy the ring, ignites Theoden's spirit, and rallies the Rohirrim in opposition to Sauron's looming shadow. He stands as a steadfast guardian in the defense of Minas Tirith. Another way Narya aids Gandalf is by slowing the relentless passage of time. Wizards do age, albeit very slowly. From the descriptions in Unfinished Tales, Gandalf appears much older than the other Istari. The first to arrive was one of noble bearing, with raven hair and a fair voice, dressed in white. Highly skilled in craftsmanship, he was regarded by nearly all, including the Eldar, as the leader of the Order. There were others, two dressed in sea blue, one in earth and brown, and the last one, who seemed the least, shorter than the rest, with aged grey hair and robes, leaning on a staff. However, Círdan, from their initial meeting at the Grey Havens, sensed reverence in Gandalf and entrusted him with the third ring, Narya, the Red Ring. Círdan observed that Gandalf, abandoning the ease of youth, had adopted a guise marked by purpose and sacrifice. This dedication likely moved Círdan's heart, leading him to regard Gandalf as the epitome among the Istari worthy of Narya. With wisdom and foresight, Círdan described the ring's comfort as a soothing balm for the weary body, a cradle for willingly borne burdens, a promise carrying the weight of understanding and solidarity. Some believe that Narya also significantly aided Gandalf in his battle with the Balrog, though I won't revisit that story here, as it was covered in a previous episode, which you can watch by clicking the link on your screen now or at the end of the video. The trio of elven rings also featured a cloak of invisibility, not for the wearer, but for the rings themselves. The bearers could wear the rings while keeping them hidden from prying eyes. This enchantment, bestowed upon the rings by Celebrimbor, might seem relatively minor, but it was highly significant, as Sauron was deeply intent on finding the elven rings. If only he could pierce the veil of uncertainty and uncover their locations, he would relentlessly pursue them, bringing death and destruction to the elven realms. Finally, we arrive at the One Ring. The creation of the One Ring represented the pinnacle of the forging of the Rings of Power. Born in secret flames and crafted clandestinely, it emerged from the depths of Orodruin, the fiery heart created by Sauron himself. Its unassuming appearance resembled that of the Lesser Rings. Sauron described it, later recounted by Gandalf at the Council of Elrond. The 9, the 7, and the 3 had each their proper gem. Not so the One. It was round and unadorned, as it were one of the lesser rings, but its maker set marks upon it that the skilled maybe could still see and read. Despite the ring's inherently malevolent nature, it offers several beneficial powers to its bearer. In the Fellowship of the Ring, Frodo witnesses a sight hidden from all others, the elven ring Nenya on Galadriel's finger. All the evening star, most beloved of the elves, shone clear above. Its rays glanced upon a ring about her finger. Frodo gazed at the ring in awe, for suddenly he felt an understanding. "Yes," she said, sensing his thoughts. "It is not permitted to speak of it, and Elrond could not do so, but it cannot be concealed from the ring-bearer and someone who has seen the eye." This vision, though not particularly advantageous to Frodo, reveals a power that Sauron would have used to seek out the elusive elven rings. As Frodo is captured by orcs in Cirith Ungol, Sam takes on the burden of the ring. During this period, we learn much about the advantageous powers the ring provides. Firstly, Samwise gains the ability to comprehend the guttural speech of orcs. He hears them clearly and understands their words. Perhaps the ring grants understanding of languages or simply enhances comprehension, especially of Sauron's servants, allowing him to understand and internally translate their thoughts if he chooses to listen. Alongside this translation ability, the ring also grants heightened senses. As Sam wears the ring, the world around him resonates with newfound clarity, enabling him to overhear the orcs' conversations in Cirith Ungol and guiding him to rescue Frodo. Similarly, Frodo experiences a significant enhancement of his senses when he wears the ring and settles on the seat of seeing atop Amon Hen. There, he witnesses a vast panorama of Middle-earth unfolding before him in a breathtaking revelation. It seemed as though he was in a misty realm filled only with shadows. With the ring upon him, the mist occasionally parted, revealing many clear and distant visions, like images on a table yet remote. There was no sound, only vivid living images. The world appeared to shrink and fall silent. Another major ability of the ring is the creation of illusions. which protect the bearer by deceiving the eye and misleading the mind. These visions can transform the ring bearer into a figure of grandeur and might in the eyes of those witnessing the enchantment. Within the tower of Cirith Ungol, such a vision occurs. Here Sam clutches the ring while facing an orc. The orc halts abruptly, astonished, for what it perceives is not a small, frightened hobbit wielding a steady sword. It sees a formidable silent figure cloaked in a grey shadow against the flickering light behind. In one hand, it holds a sword whose very light causes bitter pain. The other hand is hidden at its side, concealing an unnamed threat of power and doom. Similarly, on the slopes of Mount Doom, as Frodo and Sam encounter Gollum in a perilous situation, Frodo grips the ring and transforms. Sam sees these two adversaries with another vision, a crouching shape, barely more than a shadow of a living being, a creature now completely ruined and defeated, yet filled with a hideous desire and rage. Standing before it is a stern figure, no longer reachable by pity, robed in white, but bearing a wheel of fire on its chest. From the fire emanates a commanding voice. "Begone, and trouble me no more. If you touch me ever again, you shall cast yourself into the fire of doom." When separated from Sauron, the ring strives to return to him. It possesses various mechanisms to achieve this objective. The ring can alter its size and sometimes changes unexpectedly, slipping off the bearer's finger, such as when it slipped from Isildur during his struggle in the waters of Anduin, leading to his betrayal and death. Additionally, the ring can weave its influence into the minds of those nearby, compelling Smeagol to commit the heinous act of killing Deagol. Similarly, it casts its seductive spell on Boromir, tempting him to attempt to seize the ring from Frodo. The ring, with its intuitive understanding, recognizes Smeagol's malevolence and Boromir's human vulnerabilities as fertile grounds for its power to flourish. Furthermore, the ring can attempt to force the bearer to succumb to Sauron's servants in a battle of wills. The first instance of this occurs in the following passage from the Fellowship of the Ring. "A sudden, unreasoning fear of discovery laid hold of Frodo, and he thought of his ring. He hardly dared to breathe, and yet the desire to get it out of his pocket became so strong that he began slowly to move his hand. He felt that he had only to slip it on, and then he would be safe." At that moment, the rider sat up and shook the reins. The horse stepped forward, walking slowly at first and then breaking into a quick trot. The ring also maintains mastery over self-preservation. Its form is impervious to all means of destruction except for the unique vulnerability within the fires of Mount Doom. Yet even this weakness is considered, as the ring's formidable influence prevents any attempt to cast it into the fire. The ring's overwhelming lust for power ensures that anyone who uses it becomes dominated by it. Its strength exceeds that of any will, including its own, making it impossible to injure, discard, or ignore. Beneath all these abilities and enchantments lies a deeper power rooted in the ring's creation. The essence of the ring is ultimately tied to Sauron's desire for dominion over all of Middle-earth. At its core, the ring wields its most potent force, the authority to command and subjugate the other rings of power, along with the minds and wills of their bearers. Sauron, with malicious intent, designed these rings as shackles to enslave the elves and bend the children of Eru to his will. Thus, in forging the One Ring, we witness the manifestation of Sauron's ambition to create order through subjugation and absolute control. Yet, in his quest for dominance, he becomes enslaved by his own creation, ensnared and ultimately destroyed by the ring's power. The rings of power, with their complex web of abilities and effects, serve as cautionary tales, reminding us that true power does not lie in domination, but in the courage to resist its alluring call. As Gandalf wisely states, even the very wise cannot see all ends, and it is through this humility, the recognition of the limits of mortal ambition, that the truest form of power is found. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the artwork in this video, I am delighted to announce that I have released a collection of wall art available for order now via the link in the description below. I would also like to take this moment to light the beacons and call for aid. If you did enjoy this video, please click the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, farewell, fellow explorers.